guys, Coach Kyle and Brandon here. Today we're going to talk about organizing the shoulder girdle, and with that, elbow and wrist position, along with organization of our trunk or our spine as it relates to squat. So two major faults that we're going to try to fix, or areas of pain and compensation that we commonly see, is athletes' elbows excessively flared behind them, and that leads to being trapped up on the bar as well, which leads to a host of other problems. The other one, regardless of shoulder mobility for both of these, is athletes whose wrist is bent way too far under the bar, whether they're wearing wrist wraps to support that load, and pain throughout elbow and shoulder girdle as well. So we have hopefully an easy fix that will help you or your athletes if you have either one of those flaws. First, we're going to demonstrate those a little bit better underneath the barbell. Brandon, if you would, please. So this first one, again, is highlighting elbows just sticking excessively back. A lot of times head position will be stuck here as well. This may be because of very tight shoulders. We're not going to address shoulder mobility here, but we can see, I won't keep him here too long because this position probably sucks. We can see the curvature of the spine. That's not our best ideal squat position. Go ahead and squat, sir. And it's not getting any better through here as well. Go ahead and rack. Step out, give your wrists and elbows a break. I know that position is not that comfortable. Now we'll demonstrate an excessively cocked wrist position. So a lot of times athletes will squeeze the bar too hard, committing to their grip here, which puts the elbow into this excessively bent position because they're squeezing the bar before it may be time to add that in their setup. Now, head position's down, spinal position's a little bit better, but you can see from the side, if this was a very heavy low bar back squat, how much this wrist and thus elbow musculature is going to take the brunt of that. A lot of times we'll see athletes here with wrist wraps on. This could also be a shoulder mobility issue, but once again, we're going to take shoulder mobility out of it. Go ahead and give me a squat there, just because I know that feels wonderful on your wrists. And stand. Again, a better squat, but this just looks super painful through the wrist. Go ahead and rack for me. And we can imagine how much more challenging that would be, especially if you're new to a low bar back squat, trying to feel like you're holding the weight up in your wrists. And no matter what, bicep, forearm flexors, things like that are definitely going to take a toll. So our fix here is pretty simple. We're going to have him completely organize his spine and trunk underneath the barbell with an open grip, not committing to a tight grip. Once we've found position of our spine and elbows under the bar, wrists as well, then we can lock the bar into our back, finish our bracing, breathing, rooting, the rest of our good setup, and stand tall. We're just not going to commit to a locked-in shoulder position before we're under the bar. Brandon will demonstrate that for me here. So his number one goal is to organize his trunk and spine first. Once he's done that, hands are still fairly soft. He can pull elbows down into a little better position and pull those wrists into the best position he can here as well. Then we can finish breathing, bracing, rooting, stand tall, the rest of our wonderful setup. Brandon is a pretty big guy. He's got some decent muscle mass up here, and he's tight as well. So we can see this is a good real-life demo. He does need a little bit of shoulder mobility, but how much better position he was able to get into. We didn't do anything else in front of you. Elbows are a lot better pointed towards the floor. Lats have better engagement. There's weight sitting on the back of his shoulders now because he's engaged, pulling it into his back. Not nearly as much pressure on that wrist and thus the small musculature of the arm. Go ahead and squat just because I know it's going to look great now. Now the previous squat looked good as well. Go ahead and rack, sir. So not a lot of change in the squat. Most of the change we're talking about is to the shoulder girdle in relation to how it organizes with the spine and definitely that wrist position. Anything to add to that, sir?
Consider your movement prep when trying to take care of this issue. Don't be afraid of throwing some tissue work to kind of take care of the chest and the surrounding musculature. And also keep in mind that wrist wraps are not a Band-Aid. If you have an issue here, we got to fix it, not just throw those bad boys on.
Yep, so again, to reiterate two key points that he brought up here. I'm not saying do or don't use wrist wraps. If they make you feel comfortable, awesome. But if you're experiencing horrible wrist and elbow pain and your wrist is in this position, we should fix that and organize yourself better underneath the barbell. We did not talk about warm-up, movement prep, or shoulder mobility as well. That definitely needs to be addressed probably for most of us or all of us in our squat. However, this is an easy way to see how we can get more out of our shoulder girdle without addressing immediate mobility issues.